and it's almost finished. Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Mathilde, I'm a French knitter, and today I want to share with you one finished object and one new cast on, and that's about it. If you've been here before, first of all, thank you so much, and if you're not subscribed already, you can click on the subscribe button down below to see more videos from me. But if you've been here before, you may have heard that I was gonna move, and I did move. And so I'm in the new place now, and it's not very fun right now behind me, but hopefully we'll do something to change that in the coming weeks or month or whatever. But yeah, I've started to settle into the new place, but that does mean that, you know, with moving and stuff, I haven't had a lot of time for knitting, which is a bit unfortunate, but that's life. Moving was obviously a bit stressful, but now we've started to unpack and everything, so it definitely feels a little bit more settled. Now moving into a new space, one that's much bigger than where I was previously, it means that I'm really craving starting a new hobby, and I've always been keen to learn how to sew. Two of my best friends sew a lot, and one of them actually taught me how to make a tote bag or something. It was actually a bread bag, very French, which I made for my grandma. So that's the extent of my sewing skill. I've never done a hem on like a skirt, pants, even a curtain. I haven't done that, so I'm very, very new to it, but I would like to learn, and I would like to buy a sewing machine and everything. And that means that I've started taking Craftsy classes. So thank you so much, Craftsy, for being the sponsor of today's video, because it means that I'm able to start to learn some techniques without really getting into it hands-on first. And I feel like that's such a good way to learn a new skill when it comes to something creative like knitting or sewing, even drawing a bit, to understand the basics before you get into it. Because, for example, for knitting, you couldn't really start without knowing anything. You would have to know at least how to make a stitch, a knit stitch. All of those things are allowing you to get into a skill without having to learn everything firsthand, but just learning the basics, the essentials. And Craftsy has allowed me to do that. So I've started taking classes. The first one that I've watched was the Startup Library Sewing class by Sarah Alm. And that one was really good because it was talking about interfacing. If you're not someone who sews, then you may not know what interfacing is. I didn't know myself, but it's basically the fabric that you put between your main fabric and your skin to help it hold its shape, and depending on the drape that you want your fabric to be, the interfacing will be bigger or not. And then I also watched something that I think would be really helpful for knitters as well, who want to make a pattern like, for example, the zipper sweater by testknit. Or for me, I would like to make this summer the honey clutch by testknit, which is a small pouch with a zip at the top. And obviously you need to understand how to sew in a zip. I thought it was really helpful to understand how to put in a zipper in a fabric, and that could easily help me also for putting in a zipper in a knitting garment. And so I watched a class by Callie Works-Leary called Mastering in Minutes Zippers, which talks about the different types of zippers that you can put into a sewing garment or accessory. I'm more of a visual / hearer learner, so I like to hear people explain something, and that's the way I grasp it. I think with knitting and sewing and classes like that, it's helpful to have a visual of what you're going to do even before you attempt it yourself. So I think Craftsy is great for that. Craftsy is the online platform for all things creative, so whether you want to learn how to sew like me, or how to knit, like different techniques that you don't know yet, the first 1,000 of you who click on the link in the video description down below will get a full year of premium membership to Craftsy for only $1.49, and that's valid for new members only. So let me know whether there's a craft that you want to learn as well, and whether there's something in your space or in your budget that doesn't allow you to do that, because I think it's also good to know where you would like to take your creativity in the coming weeks, month or year, and to really already start to hone into those skills before you actually even get into it. Because for myself, for example, I don't think I'm going to be able to buy a sewing machine quite yet, maybe before the end of the year. And so that means that before then, when I know I'm going to be able to do that and to learn that skill, I'm already craving learning that skill, and so Craftsy is allowing me to do that. But enough talk about sewing, and let's talk about knitting and what I've been up to in the last 2 weeks. Before we get into that, I want to talk about what I'm wearing, which is my finished object from my last podcast, which is the clay tee by Ozetta, which was a test knit that I did for her. It is now out. I forgot to mention last time, but there is a version of this tee with long sleeves, so there are long sleeves instructions in the pattern. So if you want to make a lighter sweater than the clay sweater, you could make the clay tee with long sleeves. I've been really loving this knit. I knitted it using 2 strands of Sunday by Sandnes Garn in the colorway 5882 or 5883, not sure, but it's the navy blue. And I think I really love, you know, how the dark color makes the texture pop. In most lighting, the lighting today is not great, but hopefully you can see the texture anyway. And it does feature a rolled neckline. I talked a lot about this one in the last podcast, so if you have any, something you want to learn about it, I suggest you go and check that out, or you can ask me down below if you have any questions. But let's talk about my finished object of today's video. Now, it is a finished object, but I've not blocked it, so it will come back in the next podcast as a fully finished object while, break down the cost of the project and show it to you blocked. But I did finish my mixed Rib Cami by Florence Miller, which was a knit that I started late July last year, I think. So it's a long-standing whip that's finally done. The mixed Rib Cami by Florence Miller is a top-down camisole with a I-cord details and featuring this lovely mix of twisted or half twisted rib and stockinette panels. And on the side there's a wider stockinette panel. There's optional waist shaping, which I've chosen to do. I won't talk about the construction in this one. I'll just talk about where I was at last time and what I've done since, and my thought on this garment as an unblocked finished object. But if you want to hear more about the construction from the top half, I've talked about it in a couple of different episodes over the past few weeks, so you can go check that out. But last time I was where this stitch marker is, which I haven't undone it to be able to show you what I've done since then. So I think I did about 15 centimeters on the body, and as you can see, I did choose to do the waist shaping on this, and I also added a few hip increases towards the bottom of the garment, and I also added the I-cord edges, which I hadn't done last time. And I think the I-cord edges really helped make the garment more tight-fitting, and that was something I was scared about in the previous podcast. I thought it was just a tiny bit too loose around my body. Now, I did knit this in the recommended needle size, which is 3mm, but because I'm a tight knitter, I didn't really gauge on that. And I chose to do a size up in the pattern, so I did a size D for myself when I would usually do a size C according to the measurements. So I was hoping to get a size C measurement with my gauge, which I think I did. I haven't checked. I'll tell you in the next podcast because this is unblocked, so I'll be able to tell you that once it is. But at least for now, unblocked, it fits really, really well. I'm really loving how it looks. And the I-cord edge definitely helped pull it up a little bit. I'll put a picture that I took of when I did one side, or like one armhole with the I-cord, and I didn't do the other one, and you can see the difference in the length or height of the armhole. And yeah, it really helped pull it up. which I think is great. I hope you can't see. No, I don't think you can, but there are a lot of cat hair on this. I need to clean it. I chose to do the I-cord details with the recommended needle size as well, which was I think 2.5mm. I tried at first to do the neckline with 3mm needles because I'm usually a tight knitter, especially for I-cord edges. I thought it would be better to do a size up, but it looked a little bit too loose, and I think I had done half of the I-cord on the neckline before I thought it's already looking a bit loose. I'm gonna actually follow the pattern and go with the 2.5, and I think it looks great as is. It's not too tight. Even when you look at it like that, it looks a little bit too loose, but once it's on me, I think it's great. I'm hoping, even though it's ribbed and obviously it's unblocked, I'm hoping once it's blocked it's not gonna widen too much. We'll see. And then for the waist shaping, I put in my Ravelry notes, I haven't done that yet, but I will do it before the podcast is out, how many rounds of decreases that I did, but I did a fair amount. And then I also will include how many hip increases I did. Now there are no instructions for the hip increases, so I think I'll write down in my Ravelry like the round that I made, but it was basically knit one, make one right, knit in pattern until 3 stitches before the other side of the body marker, like the midway point, knit one, no, make one left, knit one, and then knit one, make one right, all the way down to the beginning of round marker, like 3 stitches before, make one left, knit one. And then I followed the pattern for the same amount of rounds that was mentioned for the increases. So I hope I'm not giving too much away like this, but that is what I did. And I think I did 3 increases on the body towards the bottom, because when I tried it on, it reached really my waist, but I've got quite big hips, which maybe I can show you. So this is my waist here, and then you can see my hips are definitely a little bit bigger, and I didn't want the garment to ride up when you wear it, because I hate that. Now I think I could have done a few more rounds for it to really settle into my hips, because it's a little bit cropped, it does pull a tiny bit, but I was really happy with the length that I had, and I can put it, you know, into my high-waisted jeans or into, for example, this high-waisted short skirt, and I really love the look of that. So that is what I chose to do. The last thing that I will mention is that you can maybe see that on one side my I-cord didn't really do anything specific to this panel, but on the other side you can see there's a little bit of a, what would you call that, like a bump here. And I think, and this happened to me on the other side but reversed. So basically on the front side there's one side where there's this little like kind of bubble, and not on this here, but then on the back it's reversed. And I'm not sure why, because I think I picked up the stitches the way I was supposed to, following the pickup rate. But yeah, I saw that this happened and I was like, maybe this will disappear in blocking, I'm gonna trust that. And if not, I don't think it's too bothersome. So I think I noticed when I did the first armhole, or after I had finished the first armhole, and it was at the end of that I-cord, and I really didn't want to undo all of the I-cord plus pick the stitches up again following a different rate for this, and so I gave up. But if you want to make that pattern and you're a little bit scared of the I-cord edge, don't be, but just also be aware that that at least happened for me. Maybe this will be fixed in blocking, I'll let you know in the next podcast. And lastly, actually, is the bind off that I did. She suggests doing a surprisingly stretchy bind off with the 2.5mm needle. I didn't really want to learn a new bind-off technique. I've never done a stretchy bind-off, so I just do a regular bind-off. I didn't bind off in pattern, so I didn't purl the pearls and bound off like that, using a 3mm needle, so the same size as the body. And I think you can see that it does flare a tiny bit, but because my goal for this knit is to wear it tucked in, you know, whatever I'm wearing at the bottom of my body, I didn't really mind what the bind off would look like, so that's what I did. And I'll let you know about the cost and everything in the next podcast. The yarn that I used, because I did not mention that, was Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino in the colorway Thundercloud. I do have a bit left. I haven't weighed this yet, but I'm thinking maybe it's 15 grams, maybe 20, and I'm excited to try wearing this outside. I haven't yet. Hopefully I can block this today, tomorrow, and then wear it. But I think this will be a great combination of fibers for the summer. So I'm excited about it. And I really love the color, I think, actually. I'm thinking of making a cardigan or a sweater in this Thundercloud colorway. So that's it for my mixed Rib Cami. And then I asked you guys on my next podcast what I should cast on next. And you had 4 choices, which were the Honey Clutch by Petite Knit, which is a gift knit that I want to make. The Camisole No.4 by My Favorite Things Knitwear, which I wanted to make using leftover cashmere yarn from Knitting for Olive, which is the compatible cashmere, or the square neck camisole by Garn Slicked, which I wanted to make with leftover yarn from this project, which was the Sunday by Sandnes Garn in the colorway navy blue. And the 4th one was the second sock of a pair of socks that I started earlier this year, like in February or something, which I still haven't finished, which are the Maine Coast Summer Socks by Summerly Designs. You guys had some really good advice and opinions on what I should cast on next, and none of you actually voted for the one I actually did cast on. But in my defense, I did want to cast on the second sock of my pair of socks, but if you don't know, I've moved house because partly I've changed jobs, and so because I changed jobs, I gave back my computer to my previous company, and so I don't have access to all of my patterns on a computer yet, and especially because I was moving and stuff, I didn't have a computer to look at it, and I didn't have it on my phone because it's too big of a pattern size, like the file is too big to fit in what I use to store my patterns, and so I didn't have it on me, and I couldn't remember the number of stitches I needed to cast on. And it's a cable repeat, and it's been so long since I cast off the last sock or the first sock that I couldn't do it off the top of my head, so I didn't cast on the second sock, but I will do that this week. So next podcast you will see that sock, and hopefully it will even be finished. I'm not sure about that, but I'll try. But that means that I did cast on the Camisole No.4 by My Favorite Things Knitwear with my compatible cashmere yarn, and it's almost finished. So let me show you what that is. So I needed a mindless project because my mixed Rib Cami, I was at the point where I was doing the I-cord edges, and I didn't really want to do the I-cord edges like on the go. So I wanted something a little bit mindless. A sock would have been perfect, especially for like the day that I had traveling from my previous place to this place, which was 6-7 hours of car. But as I said, I didn't have the pattern, and then I wanted to make a swatch for the square neck camisole, didn't have time to do that. And for the honey clutch as well, I think that was supposed to be on the same needle size as the mixed Rib Cami, and so I didn't want to have the fuss of that. So I cast on. This is where I'm at with the Camisole No.4. I'm showing you the back. Because this camisole, I've done it before, so I had the pattern in my stash, so technically that doesn't count as a new pattern. But also, once you've knit up those triangles and the back ones, and you join everything in the round. It's just broken rib, 2x2 broken rib in the round, very mindless, very nice. I did the I-cord straps pretty early on, as soon as I could. Actually, I need to cut off the yarn here, and I'm about, I think, almost 20 centimeters into the body, which is fairly long. Now, when I wear it, it's definitely cropped. I want to add at least 5 more centimeters, but I'm not sure how many exactly I want to add. I do have, so my first Camisole No.4 is a little bit cropped as well. That one is knit in pure silk by Knitting for Olive in the colorway Dusty Artichoke, and I really love that. But I did thought it was a bit cropped, but also I love the look, like with skirts or with high-waisted jeans, then it really stops at a nice point on my body, I think. But it does mean I can't really tuck it inside of those bottoms that I'm wearing. And I'm not sure what I want to do with this, whether I want the cropped look or not, so we'll see. But for the construction of this, you start off with the provisional cast on, you knit the first triangle, then you stop around here, you put the stitches on hold, you do the second left one, then you join both of them together, you knit a little bit of the front panel, and then you put that on hold to knit the back triangles, which are shorter than the fronts, and then you join everything around once you've done all of the triangles. But that means I started with this one, for example. I don't know if it was this one or this one, then this one. And then once I had done one of the back triangles, I realized, and so I had done the whole front panel, joined them together, done I don't know how many rounds or rows on the front panel, and then started doing the back triangles. And that's when I realized that I was doing the provisional cast on wrong. And so don't know if you're going to be able to see, this is looking a little bit messy here, whereas I think here it's looking definitely neater. Basically I was holding, if you know a provisional cast on, I was holding my yarn on the wrong side. So I was doing the cast on like with this instead of like this or something, or the other way around. So I realized on one of the back triangles, and I didn't really want to go back and fix that, because I think I must have done that also for my first Camisole No.4. So I was like, I never noticed, it's fine. It's definitely a little bit more tricky to pick up the stitches that way, but it worked out, it's fine. I also have, as you can probably tell, the same trouble that I had for my first one, which is that the side of the triangle, the front ones, the back ones not so much, they curl in a lot, and I know that's not really gonna be fixed in blocking, which is a bit of a shame. Maybe I just need to block it a lot for it to stay put, we'll see. But yeah, I tried pulling or not pulling the yarn as tight on the side, but I didn't manage it. So it's curling in a bit, but otherwise it's just, you know, 2x2 broken rib, and it's really lovely. I love the increases on the triangles. I think it's stunning. And I didn't swatch for this with this yarn. I just went with the same needle size I used for the first one, even though my yarn is different. So I'm using compatible cashmere. I don't have the, oh, I do have the, but it's not attached. So compatible cashmere by Knitting for Olive in the colorway cream, and I think it's 100% cashmere. So far I've used 3 skeins and 11 grams, something like that. This is my final skein, and I have a tiny bit left over of another one, which I think I've got like maybe 5 grams left, and this one I haven't started working with yet. And I think this is going to be a lovely piece, very soft, but it's going to peel a lot. It does peel a little bit when I knit with it already, but it is buttery soft. It's amazing. And oh yeah, and I think it fits great, even though I didn't do a gauge swatch. I am holding, I didn't mention, I'm holding this double, so I'm gonna be pulling from both ends to work up that skein. So yeah, that's it for my camisole number 4. I hope you're not mad that I didn't really follow what you guys wanted me to do, but rest assured, this week this will be done, and that means I'm going to be able to cast on, I think, 2 more projects. So the socks for sure, and then we'll see whether I want to make another summer tee, summer camisole, or if I want to make the gift knit. But I really appreciate you guys' advice and opinions, and it's really fun to see that no one voted for what I did actually cast on, because I did cast on this before I even uploaded the video. So that's why I didn't really listen to you guys, because I didn't know yet what you wanted me to cast on, and I just had the time at that moment before I uploaded the video, the podcast, to cast on something new, and so that's what I chose. And yeah, I don't have any yarn acquisitions this podcast, but maybe in the next few weeks I will, because I did have a gift card from my colleagues, which was really nice. So I'm gonna put in an order and we'll see when that comes in. But that's it for me today. I hope you're all well. I'm gonna be vlogging a little bit of my future yarn knitting corner. So if you're curious about that, stay tuned, subscribe, and turn on the notifications to be notified when I upload that. But I hope you're well, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.